In our country today, less than 1% of our population wear its nation's uniform.
We need somebody to step up and take the lead.
An Army officer is one of the last few noble professions.
Leadership is needed on the battlefield. Leadership's needed in the classroom. Leadership's needed in business.
I don't have a very big military background. I thought it'd be a big jump just going straight to a military school.
So half of my college list was military academies. The other half was civilian colleges that had an ROTC program. Eventually, I kind of figured out that I wanted to go the civilian route. I wanted to have both the experience of being in the military, but also the civilian college lifestyle.
You know, I first heard about it through a counselor in high school. He told me about it. I looked into it. Hey, you got a 4-year scholarship.
The Army ROTC offers several means of attaining a commission in the United States Army.
The way I like to think of it is there's an option for everybody. The officers produced by Army ROTC, the largest commissioning source.
The Military Junior College is a unique institution in that we front load all the military training in 2 summers and actually commission them at generally 20 years old.
Because it's a junior college, you spend the first 2 years here. You finish a 4-year degree at a regular 4-year college, and I felt it'd be a good transition between high school and then going on to the Army. The regimented lifestyle here, waking up at 05 in the morning, physical training every day, was very appealing to me.
One of the important things about ROTC on a civilian campus like JMU, it has both the excellent academics that you need to really get something out of a college education, but it's also kind of a more laid-back and relaxed place.
Virginia Tech is one of 6 schools known as a senior military college. Although they're members of the Corps of Cadets and they wear a uniform every single day, they have the opportunity to interface with the other 25,000 civilian students. They also want to have a college experience.
I'm guaranteed an active duty slot if I want it, rather than having to compete like regular ROTC programs do.
There's also that civilian network here. There's somewhere to go on the weekends and wind down, unlike, you know, the academies.
Essentially, graduating from West Point and graduating from here, you're going to be the same level. You're both going to be second lieutenants.
ROTC cadets educated at a place like Johns Hopkins, a private university, offer an important complement to those trained at the military academies.
They're Tuskegee Tigers. They'll always be Tuskegee Tigers. They understand it's an HBCU institution. It's not a secret, but it's also like extended family.
But they don't have to major in ROTC. They focus on some other things, participate in other activities, whether it be fraternities or sports, because those are things that are going to carry through for the rest of their lives.
And that does nothing but help you grow up. I mean, if you have someone telling you what to do and when to do it all the time, then you don't have that kind of freedom of choice and freedom of decision-making that you do if you go to ROTC.
It definitely takes a motivated, disciplined person to do well in ROTC, and I think in life in general.
We want people who have technical and scientific understanding, whether it be in engineering or biology.
Army ROTC sends us to the Nurse Summer Training Program, and so we get extra training that a civilian nursing student wouldn't get.
I've had more experience here in 2 weeks than I have in 2 years of nursing school.
When they come here, we are constantly saying, when you become a registered nurse, when you become an officer, you are going to be doing this, so let's go ahead and give it a try. So by the time they leave here, they just really are smiles like, that is so cool, I didn't know I could do that.
And the reality of that is a huge responsibility that people's lives are in your hands. And even though it's a training environment, it eventually will become a reality.
It's my desire to become a pediatrician and to take care of children. I respect the Army's organization, but I also know that I have to work hard to get to where I want to be.
To work with soldiers that fight hard to keep you safe and to be able to give back to them and send them home at the end of the day is probably one of the greatest feelings in the world.
We have people who do sociology, history, a whole variety of majors because you know, the Army is representative of America.
Hopefully I'm going to get into the military intelligence field.
If I wanted to be a vet or I wanted to be a doctor, the Army would definitely pay for the schooling, which is really nice.
After graduating from Hopkins, I plan to go to law school.
Taking on a challenge like Ranger Challenge is just the first step I can take to push myself to my limit and find out if I've got what it takes.
The same characteristics that make a good football teammate, a good football player, the same qualities that make a good Army officer.
Being a Division I athlete, I can partake in athletics and do Army ROTC all at the same time.
Where they get challenged a little bit at a time. So when they get commissioned, become a second lieutenant in the Army, whether they go off to lead soldiers in the U.S. Army Reserve, the Army National Guard, or on active duty, they're able to take that next difficult challenge.
The beam is 35 feet, and at first that doesn't sound like very much, and you get up there and you look down, and it definitely seems a long way down. They told me, you know, trust your equipment, trust us. It wasn't a big deal after the first time.
When they came here, they couldn't imagine themselves doing that. So the courage and self-confidence grows with that kind of challenge.
There's just a sense of pride saying like, wow, I just did that.
Being pushed and being pulled, sometimes you have to go through it. You have to experience it, and once you overcome it, you look back and you're like, I can do this again.
We put them in leadership positions. So now if they've never been able to speak in public or speak in front of large crowds, they not only have to speak to them, but they have to lead them. They have to give them commands and be good enough themselves that these people respect their commands and do what they're told.
I want Alpha team on my right, Bravo team on my left. Make it happen.
It's quite an adjustment for most young people to make.
An Army leader is really responsible for the families associated with the soldiers that they lead. The cadets who come in their very first year begin to understand that this isn't a time where they're leaving their family, it's something that they're involving their family in.
I think the most important part of every ROTC program is the cadre. They're men and women who have been around the world, experienced very different things.
We try not to bore the students with war stories, but at the same time, these war stories are real experiences in which these lessons that are taught in the book were applicable.
Leadership is an art, as most of us know, but it cannot occur just in the classroom. One has to pass through the fire of experience.
First, you have to learn some of the basics, in which we have classroom time and they teach us how to take control of a platoon, a squad.
We had 2 Black Hawk helicopters that came in and picked up my cadets and took them around the battlefield that we created.
You want the squad leader to know where you are. We're working on his control of the situation.
It felt like we were out there in a real military situation.
I don't have live bullets flying, but I got simulated rockets and explosions, stressful conditions of leadership. We can give that to them right here in San Diego.
You have a better recommendation that they're telling you over the radio. You need to make that call.
Roger that, sir. Anytime you're trying to maintain control of a situation where you've got that much going on, it's hard to maintain control of your element. So that's really where you have to maintain your calm and your poise.
Really, the biggest thing we teach is confidence in themselves when there's 20 people looking at you saying, boss, what do I do next?
It's no wonder military history looks good on a resume, because somebody sees that you are a second lieutenant in the Army and they're going to know, okay, this person is physically fit, they're disciplined, they know teamwork, and they can stay calm under pressure.
Nothing makes my day more than getting an email from a lieutenant saying, hey sir, thank you, I feel very well prepared.
I have become a more confident person, I've been more sure of my own decisions, and I just carry myself a lot better.
We set up our lieutenants to succeed, not falsely. It's not like getting an award you didn't deserve. We're going to put you in this position, and then we're going to watch you shine.
So I'm excited, ready to go out and do what the Army has taught me to do.
Now it's really starting to sink in that I'm going to be an officer, I'm going to be a soldier, I'm going to be the future.
And the Army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey, the Army's on its way.
It's a beginning, and I think as a college student, you don't want to take on the world. You don't want to take on too much.
They make an informed decision to come here, serve their country, knowing that they're going to commission in 4 years and be placed in harm's way.
These students aren't just graduating. It makes me feel intensely proud that those individuals are leaving this institution to serve their fellow American citizens.
It has to be your personal decision. You have to be dedicated to it. It takes a lot of work.
You've got to be respectable in front of your peers if you want them to respect you.
I've come a long way, a very, very long way. 4 or 5 years ago, had you asked me, was I going to be an Army aviator, I would have told you no, not at all.
It was the best decision of my life.
Really hope to affect people's lives when I'm in the Army.
I would describe them as some of the finest young men and women that I've ever had the privilege to serve with.
To do it, you got to have a heart. And that's what I'm looking for, people with heart. And pinning the bars on somebody is saying, I'm giving you responsibility and authority that most people never get in a lifetime. As a 21-year-old, fresh out of college, being in charge of 40 to 50 people and saying, they're yours now. Their livelihood is in your hands, and that's an awesome responsibility. There's no better way to become that young officer, that young leader of our Army and of our future, of America's future, than going through Army ROTC.
If you want to be a leader in life, there's no stronger way to start than Army ROTC. To find out more about the schools that offer ROTC or the program itself, log on to ArmyROTC.com. Start strong with Army ROTC. There's strong, and then there's Army Strong.